Let me tell you something that might shake your perspective. You were never designed for lack. You were never wired for small thinking. You were never meant to just survive. You were born to overflow. But here's the truth. You can't walk into abundance with a poverty program running in your mind. So today, we're not just talking about money. We're not just talking about wealth. We're talking about alignment with who you were created to be. And once you change the program, the product of your life changes too. It's time to program yourself to be rich, not just in your bank account, but in your belief, your boldness, and your breakthrough. You can have a big paycheck and still be living in a small world. You can make 6 figures, 7 figures, and still walk around afraid to take a risk. Why? Because the programming in your mind has more control over your life than the numbers on your paycheck. The truth is, you don't rise to your income, you fall to your mindset. Some of us are stuck in cycles of lack, not because opportunity hasn't come, but because when it knocked, we were too afraid to open the door. We've been programmed with fear, programmed with self-doubt, programmed to play it safe, programmed to believe that success is for them, not for us. And until you deal with the root code running your life, no promotion, no business launch, no windfall of money will change the outcome. Because your external circumstances can't outrun your internal settings. It's like trying to install millionaire blessings on a broke mindset. You ever try downloading a new app on an old phone? It crashes. It doesn't function. It lags. Why? Because the operating system isn't ready to handle the upgrade. That's what happens when you try to live rich without being renewed in your mind. The system fails. You may be praying for more, but still thinking less, wanting expansion, but still making decisions from fear. And the most dangerous part, you've gotten comfortable with it. You've normalized living below your potential as it helps us. And you've called it wisdom when it's really just worry. You've called it humility when it's actually hesitation. But here's the hard truth, and you can't step to a rich life with a poverty script still playing in your head. Some of you are waiting on God to do a new thing, but God is waiting on you to delete the old program. You want favor, but you're still operating with the firmware of failure. And until that changes, money won't fix it. A new job won't fix it. Even success won't fix it, because you'll sabotage it to match your self-worth. See, money doesn't change you. It reveals you. It magnifies the program already running underneath. That's why some people get blessed and blow it. Not because they were evil or greedy, but because their software wasn't ready to sustain what they received. And if you're still operating from a system that was built in survival mode, abundance will feel threatening. Freedom will feel unsafe. Prosperity will feel like a lie you're not allowed to live. But let me tell you this, just because you were raised in lack doesn't mean you're ruled by it. Just because you've experienced scarcity doesn't mean you have to expect it. You can rewrite the code. You can update the system. You can install new thinking that reflects who you really are, not what life tried to make you settle for. You are not a victim of your upbringing. You are not trapped in the limitations of your past. You are powerful enough to challenge the narrative in your mind. And the moment you start speaking to yourself differently, thinking about yourself differently, expecting differently, you'll see doors open that were always there. You just couldn't see them because your settings were stuck. You've got to stop believing the lie that says, this is as good as it gets. That's a trap. That's a virus in the system. And it's time to uninstall it, because the truth is your future is richer than your history. But to live in it You've got to think in it first. You might say, well, I've never had wealth before. That's fine. Then be the first. Be the one who reprograms the family line. Be the one who refuses to stay small. Because when you rewire your mind, your life starts to reflect what you really believe. So the question isn't, how much do I make? The real question is, what am I made of? Because rich isn't something you earn, it's something you become. And it all starts in your mind. There's a mindset that's more dangerous than being broke, and that's being comfortable. Not the kind of peace that comes from gratitude or contentment, but the kind of comfort that makes you settle for just enough. The bare minimum mentality, it's the voice that says, why push for more when this is working? It's the attitude that says, as long as I get by, I'm okay. But let me tell you, getting by is not your calling. You were not created to just manage through life. You were created to multiply. The bare minimum mindset is subtle. It doesn't show up shouting, it whispers. It disguises itself as being realistic. It calls itself humble. It says things like, I'm just doing my best, when you know that's not your best. It's your easy. The bare minimum mindset celebrates surviving while ignoring that you were built for thriving. And if you let it take root, it will suffocate your potential and chain you to mediocrity. We've all had seasons where we did what we had to do. Maybe that season taught you discipline, taught you faith, taught you how to hustle. But here's the problem. Some people build their identity around that season. They stay stuck in survival even when they're no longer in danger. As us, they live like they're still in the wilderness even after God brought them to the edge of the promised land. Bare minimum thinking keeps you circling the same mountain when you were supposed to conquer it and move on. It makes you avoid excellence because nobody else is doing it that way. It convinces you that consistency is boring, discipline is unnecessary, and ambition is pride. But it's a lie, and it's keeping you small. Let me speak to your spiriting. You're not just enough person. There is overflow in you. There's innovation in you. There's a builder in you. There's an investor, a leader, a solution bringer in you. But that version of you doesn't show up when you do the bare minimum. That version shows up when you give more than what's required. When you move with excellence, not just adequacy. You know what separates wealthy people from average ones? It's not just resources. It's standards. Rich people raise the bar on themselves. They don't ask, what's the least I can do to get by? They ask, what would it take to become the best? They don't show up on time. They show up prepared. They don't wait to be told. They take initiative. They don't settle for good enough. They chase greatness. That mindset will shift your entire life. It changes how you talk, how you think, how you show up. You stop saying, that's not my job, and start saying, this is my opportunity. You stop waiting to be discovered and start developing yourself. Because bare minimum thinking waits for permission. Abundance thinking moves in purpose. I want to push you today. What area of your life have you been giving the least to while expecting the most from? You want a rich relationship, but you're giving poor communication. You want a successful business, but you're only putting in work when you feel inspired. You want financial freedom, but you're operating with lazy stewardship. If you don't confront the bare minimum mindset, it will cost you what God intended for you to build. You don't need a new opportunity. You need a new intensity. You don't need more connections. You need more commitment. Because the truth is, greatness is never found in the minimum. Excellence always travels the extra mile. People who live in overflow don't ask, do I have to? They ask, how far can I go? They wake up with urgency. They carry their work with pride. They give more than they take. And as a result, life keeps opening doors for them. Opportunities chase them down because they show they can handle more. And let me tell you something spiritual. When you steward the small things with excellence, heaven trusts you with increase. Favor is not random. It's attracted to those who refuse to settle. Blessing responds to those who refuse to compromise their standards. So if you want rich results, you need to start moving like a rich thinker. Someone who doesn't ask, what can I get away with? But instead asks, what can I rise into? Stop flirting with your potential. Stop showing up halfway and wondering why things aren't shifting. This is your call to burn the bare minimum mindset and walk boldly in the spirit of abundance. Your future doesn't belong to who you've been. It belongs to who you decide to become right now. And you become that person by giving everything you've got. Not just enough, not just what's required, but your very best every single time. There is a power that most people underestimate. It's not your education, your background, or your bank account. It's your words. The words you speak are not just sounds, they're seeds. They shape your environment, your emotions, your energy, and yes, even your economy. The truth is your words are writing your code. Every time you speak, you're either programming your mind for prosperity or poisoning it with limitation. We live in a culture that throws around negativity like it's harmless. But let me tell you, I'm just not good with money. Nothing ever works out for me. I guess I'll never catch a break is rewriting your future. You are literally giving your subconscious instructions to keep you stuck. You are reinforcing a system of defeat with the language of despair. The way your mind works is simply, it listens to you more than it listens to anyone else. So if you constantly speak limitation, your brain doesn't argue. It obeys. If you say, I can't afford that, your brain stops looking for solutions. If you say, this is just my luck, your brain looks for patterns to prove you right. And eventually, your life begins to mirror the messages you've been sending it. That's not chance. That's code. You can't speak failure and expect to live in freedom. You can't speak fear and expect to walk in favor. Your language has to match your level. You've got to start talking like the person you're becoming, not the one you're trying to leave behind. Some people say, well, I'm just being honest. But honesty without hope is just a dressed up form of doubt. Speaking the facts is fine. But are you also speaking faith? It might be a fact that your bank account is low, but it's also a truth that God provides. It might be a fact that you failed before, but it's also true that you've got another chance right now. Don't confuse your facts with your finality. Don't let your current condition become your permanent confession. You need to train your mouth to match your mission, because words don't just describe your reality. They direct it. When you speak life, life begins to grow. When you speak abundance, opportunities begin to align. When you declare vision, the fog starts to lift. That's not some hype. That's alignment. You're not manipulating reality. You're magnifying your purpose. There are some things you need to stop saying right now, not because they sound bad, but because they're holding you back. Stop saying, I'm always broke. Stop saying, nothing ever works out for me. Stop saying, I'm just not lucky. Those aren't observations. They're limitations. And every time you speak them, You reinforce the walls around your potential. Instead, start speaking what you want to see, even if it hasn't happened yet. Say, I'm learning to manage money with wisdom. Say, doors are opening for me. Say, I'm stepping into overflow as it helps us, and I'm prepared for it. That's not lying to yourself. That's leading yourself. You're not pretending. You're programming. You're teaching your mind, your heart, and your habits to rise to a higher level. This is more than positive thinking. This is spiritual alignment. There is life and death in the power of the tongue. When you start declaring abundance, heaven listens. When you start speaking breakthrough, you stir something in the atmosphere. When you open your mouth with authority and expectation, things begin to shift. But if all you ever release is complaint, criticism, and comparison, don't be surprised when your life reflects exactly that. Your words create momentum. Speak life long enough, and you start to move in the direction of what you've been declaring. Your confidence increases. Your energy shifts. Your actions follow. Before long, the person you used to wish you could be, that person becomes the one you are. So guard your mouth like your future depends on it, because it does. Train your tongue to agree with your destiny, not your dysfunction. Declare vision over your life like a builder with a blueprint. Wake up speaking favor. Go to bed speaking gratitude. Let your words be soaked in boldness and belief. Because when you speak with authority, you don't just inspire others. You reprogram yourself. You set new expectations. You carve new neural pathways. You begin to speak as if you already possess the very thing you're praying for. Your mouth is not a microphone for your misery. It's a megaphone for your mission. Speak like your life is shifting. Speak like the breakthrough is already on the way. Speak like heaven is listening and your future is forming, as it helps us. Because every time you open your mouth, you're either writing code for breakthrough or building walls around your blessing. Choose your words like your future depends on them, because it does. If there's one secret the world doesn't always shout loud enough, it's this: wealth, real wealth, is built through repetition, not random bursts of inspiration, not overnight wins, but daily, disciplined, focused repetition. You don't become rich by what you do occasionally. You become rich by what you do consistently. And that's where most people miss it, because repetition doesn't always feel exciting, but it is essential. We live in a culture that's addicted to results and allergic to process. Everybody wants the outcome, but few want to fall in love with the routine. People get hyped about the goal, but they ghost the grind. But here's the truth of, if your habits don't match your hope, your life won't match your vision. You can't pray for abundance while practicing inconsistency. You can't desire financial freedom while living with scattered focus. Your rhythm must align with your revelation. Let's get honest. Repetition can feel boring. It can feel like nothing's changing. You show up, you put in the work, and you stay faithful. And it still seems like breakthrough is far off. But don't confuse silence with stagnation. Don't mistake delay for denial, because every seed grows underground before it blossoms above. Repetition is the watering process. Every time you wake up early, every time you say no to the distraction, every time you plan, show up and execute, even when nobody sees it, you're programming your life for overflow. You are retraining your patterns. You are rebuilding your pathways. The more you repeat discipline, the more natural it becomes. Your brain starts to recognize the new rhythm. Your body starts to follow your commitment. Your spirit begins to expect more. That's how change happens. Not in the big loud moments, but in the quiet consistency that stacks over time. You want to be rich. Build repetition into your life like it's non-negotiable. Don't just journal once when you're inspired. Do it every day until it becomes your identity. Don't just read a financial book one time. Build it into your weekly routine. Don't just tithe, invest, or save when it feels good. Do it because it's who you are now. Successful people don't wait for motivation. They manufacture momentum through repetition. That's the difference between wishing and working. Wishing is emotional. It depends on how you feel. Working is structural. It shows up no matter what. If you only move when you're in the mood, you're not serious. You're just flirting with your future. But when you build rituals into your life, patterns of action that you don't break, your success is no longer optional. It becomes inevitable. Wealth isn't a moment. It's a mindset that manifests through repeated motion. Think about athletes. Think about musicians. Think about entrepreneurs. None of them became excellent by doing things once. They trained their bodies, trained their minds, repeated the same small disciplines until mastery took over. Until what once felt forced became second nature. That's the power of repetition. It doesn't just change your results. It rewires your identity. You begin to see yourself differently. You stop saying, I hope this works, and start saying, this is what I do. You stop being a visitor in success and start living there. That shift is subtle but powerful. Because when you become the kind of person who sticks to the process no matter what, you can't help but win. And let me speak to your spirit. Even in your faith, repetition is power. Pray daily. Speak life over yourself daily. Renew your mind with truth daily. The same way your body needs daily food, your soul needs daily nourishment. When you start repeating faith-filled practices, you build a foundation that won't shake when storms come. Some people are stuck because they're waiting for a new miracle, but what they really need is a new method. They're hoping God will do something new, but they haven't mastered the last instruction. Heaven responds to hunger,
Yes.
but also to habits. When God sees consistency, he knows you're ready for capacity. So let me ask you, what do you repeat daily that's building your rich life? Not what you intend to do. Not what you plan when you're inspired. What are you actually doing? Over and over again to build the life you claim you're ready for. If you don't like the answer, change the rhythm. Start today. Repeat small disciplines until they come divine outcomes, because repetition is the rhythm of the rich. And when you move in that rhythm, you won't have to chase results. They'll start chasing you. There's a reason some people attract opportunities while others always seem to miss them. It's not just talent. It's not just timing. It's awareness. Wealthy people move differently because they see differently. They aren't waiting for success to show up with fireworks and a neon sign. They recognize that favor often arrives dressed like responsibility. Opportunity doesn't always look like a blessing. Sometimes it looks like inconvenience, hard work, or something you didn't expect. And if your perspective isn't trained, you'll walk right past the very thing you prayed for. Your ability to recognize opportunity is connected to your level of preparation. It's not about luck. It's about lenses. When your mind is stuck in lack, every open door looks like a burden. But when your mind is trained for wealth, when you're operating with a rich mindset, every moment becomes a possibility. You stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, what if this is the moment? Some people think opportunity is rare, that it only knocks once. But the truth is, opportunity knocks every day. It just doesn't always knock loud. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it shows up as a connection you almost ignored, a skill you almost didn't develop, a side project you almost gave up on. That's why your eyes must be sharp. Your spirit must be alert, because God doesn't always send miracles in the package you expected. He sends them disguised as work. Think about it. How many blessings have you walked past because they didn't look like what you wanted? How many moments did you miss because you were distracted, discouraged, or too dependent on comfort? You've got to train your vision to see beyond what's obvious. Because rich people don't just see what is, they see what could be. They look at a broken system and see an invention. They look at a trend and see a business. They look at their own pain and see a platform. That's what separates them. It's not always what they have, it's what they notice. Your next level might already be in the room. But if you don't recognize it, it won't matter. Recognition is the first step to manifestation. And if you're not paying attention, you'll confuse a God door for a dead end. The challenge is we've been trained to expect opportunity to feel perfect. We want to feel ready. We want it to make sense. But growth doesn't wait for your comfort. Favor doesn't ask if you're in the mood. Sometimes the opportunity comes before the confidence. Sometimes the door opens while you're still doubting. And if you wait until you feel ready, you'll miss your moment. Because the truth is, opportunity rarely feels convenient, but it's always significant. People who live in wealth are watchers. They pay attention. They listen closely. They take notes when others zone out. They don't scroll past information. They study it. They don't shrug off wisdom. They store it. That posture makes them magnetic because life opens up for the people who stay open, stay teachable, stay curious, stay alert. And don't get it twisted. Recognizing opportunity doesn't mean you'll never be afraid. It means you're willing to move even when you are. Fear is not the enemy of opportunity. Inaction is. Most people aren't blocked by the lack of chances. They're blocked by the lack of courage to seize the chances they already had. And when you develop the discipline to act on small opportunities, you prepare yourself to handle greater ones. So ask yourself, what's in front of me right now that I've been underestimating? What have I called too small, too hard, or not worth it that might actually be the seed of my next season? Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Make the current conditions work in your favor. Sometimes the door won't look like a stage. It'll look like a responsibility. Sometimes opportunity won't look like a raise. It'll look like a risk. But if you stay locked into the moment and alert to your environment, you'll begin to see what others miss. And that vision, that sensitivity to opportunity is a wealth building skill all by itself. You don't have to chase favor. Just recognize it. When you learn how to identify doors in disguise, you won't need a handout. You'll step into harvest. You won't be waiting for someday. You'll be walking in right now, because the wealthy don't just have more, they see more. And what you see determines where you go. There is one truth about wealth that can't be skipped, rushed, or replaced. You have to believe you're worth it. Not just say it, not just post it. You have to believe it deep down. Because no matter how much strategy you have, no matter how many doors open for you, if you don't believe you're worthy of wealth, you'll always sabotage your own success. You'll find a way to push the blessing away, to shrink, to settle, to go back to what's comfortable, not because it's better, but because it's familiar. Belief is the foundation that everything else is built on. Not belief in the world, not belief in luck, not even belief in opportunity, but belief that yes, you are worthy of more, that you're not just meant to watch other people live in overflow while you sit on the sidelines clapping for them, that your ideas matter, that your presence brings value, that your story has the power to shift atmospheres and open doors. But let's be honest, it's hard to believe that when all you've ever known is survival, when all your life you've heard, money doesn't grow on trees, or people like us don't do things like that, or stay humble and just be thankful, you start to internalize those voices. They echo in your mind every time you try to think bigger. Every time you start dreaming about something greater, that voice says, "Who do you think you are? But let me remind you, you were made in the image of the Creator." That means there is creativity, excellence, and abundance woven into your DNA. You are not a mistake. You are not an afterthought. You are not a background character in someone else's story. You are called, qualified, and capable. And if you don't believe that, no system, strategy, or support can save you from self-sabotage. That's why people get the job but lose it. Start the business but stall out. Get the money but can't keep it. Because you'll always return to the level you believe you deserve. If your identity is still rooted in lack, even abundance will feel uncomfortable. You'll push away what you prayed for because it doesn't align with how you see yourself. So the real work is not just building a bank account. The real work is rebuilding your identity, upgrading your internal software. Because if your self-worth is bankrupt, you'll never feel safe holding wealth. You'll treat it like a visitor instead of a permanent resident. You've got to affirm your worth daily, not from ego, but from alignment. You've got to speak to yourself like you would speak to someone you love. I deserve to live in overflow, not just obligation. I am not too late, not too old, not too far behind. I am becoming the kind of person who can be trusted with more. Those aren't just affirmations. They are activations. They shift the atmosphere around you and within you. And here's the key. Believing you're worthy doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you've done everything right. It means you recognize that your past does not cancel your purpose. It means you've decided that shame can't be your story anymore. It means you're done disqualifying yourself from opportunities that were always meant for you. Wealth is not just about the money. It's about living in the fullness of your calling. It's about understanding that overflow is your inheritance, not your wish. That generosity is your language. That excellence is your standard. That increase isn't something you're chasing. It's something you're aligning with. Because the moment you believe you're worthy, you start showing up differently. You walk in rooms with presence. You speak with authority. You make decisions based on vision, not validation. You stop begging for approval and start building from identity. That's when everything changes, not just what you do, but how you do it. If you don't do anything else, do this. Choose to believe that you're worth the life you dream about, that you are not disqualified, that you are not stuck, that the same grace that got you through the storm is the same grace that will carry you into overflow. You have to own it before you can hold it. You have to believe it before you ever see it, because your belief builds the blueprint. And wealth follows the one who knows they belong in the room. You don't have to beg for it. You just have to believe you're built for it. So let me leave you with this. If you don't like the life you're living, rewrite the software. If your heart is heavy but your hands are full, shift the system. If your dreams are big but your habits are small, upgrade the program, because rich isn't just a number. Rich is a mindset. Rich is a spirit. Rich is a decision. Now go ahead. Walk like you're rich. Think like you're rich. Program yourself like God already made you rich. Because he did.